Okay, I think I'm live. Hey everybody, good to see you. Let me pull up my phone here so I can check. Yep. Looks like I'm live. Hey, sorry for the delay. I have been trying to get this thing to work, and evidently one of the buttons toggled off that that I usually have on. And I had to like search for it and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, I hope that you are here with me. Sometimes I post recorded videos if I have a conflict. And so I decided I'm going to come on a little later today so that I could actually be live. So I would love to know who is tuning in with me. And so if you're watching this live in the Facebook group, please say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching the replay, same thing. It's fun if you're live because then I can read your comments and interact with you. But right now, I don't really see very many people. So I'm going to stall a little bit. So, you know how I'm always going, sorry about my voice. Well, I'm finally going to talk to the doctor about it. And I'm going to have to get like a scope to look at my vocal cords because I've been hoarse for like a year. So it's annoying. So hopefully it's not a distraction to you. And I hope you're having a great start to your week. Happy Monday. It is Monday, June 16th. Hope everybody had a good Father's Day. I had an eventful weekend. My stepdaughter got married, so there was a lot going on with the rehearsal dinner and wedding and all that good stuff. So I'm really stalling. But I'm going to go ahead and start. If anybody is on live, please say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Um, if you're watching the replay, let me know that as well. And so we have a topic that I hear a lot about, and that is people tell me that they feel overwhelmed, that they've got too much going on, can't get everything done. And so we're going to talk about overcoming overwhelm. Just a few, I mean, this is not going to be like a big, extensive, long thing. Just a few simple shifts that I want to introduce to you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And that way we can get these slides up here. All right. So welcome. Again, we're going to talk about overcoming overwhelm. How do you get stuff done without burnout? How do you decide what to get done and what's okay to leave? And so we're just diving into how to overcome overwhelm and get more done without working harder and without burning out. So I'm going to give you some practical strategies that you can use right away. And I'd love to hear your takeaways in the chat. Again, if you tune in at all, whether it's replay or live, don't just watch, say hi. And let me know if you like this kind of topic. I'm I'm talking about this because I have heard this from a lot of people, but I need to hear from you who are watching whether this is something that you're interested in or not. So, all right, still don't see any comments. So just say hi if you're watching. Excuse me. And we're going to jump right in. So, most people think that overwhelm is about having too much to do. But really, that's not the case. It's not about having too much to do so much as it's about not knowing where to start, not knowing what to prioritize, not knowing how to manage all the mental clutter. You know what I mean? It's just you've got too much going on in your head. So we're going to tackle all three of those today. Not knowing where to start, not knowing how to prioritize, and how to manage all that mental clutter. So what happens when you're overwhelmed? If you are watching this on the replay, put in the chat what happens to you when you feel overwhelmed. Because I don't really see anybody on here live. If you are live, please tell me in the chat what happens when you're overwhelmed. Like what's the result of you feeling overwhelmed? And I will circle back around and read those comments for sure. So you may procrastinate. You may just freeze, like you feel paralyzed, or you may do the opposite. You may just like go into hyperaction, jump from one task to another task to another task, or maybe you just beat yourself up for not doing enough. You know, maybe there's some shame involved. Well, let's normalize that this is not a character flaw, okay? It is very normal to feel overwhelmed sometimes. It's a signal that something in your system needs shifting because you're not meant to feel overwhelmed. But you don't need to beat yourself up. You just need to figure out what to do about it, right? So, few shifts. First, simplify your inputs. Reduce the number of things that are fighting for your attention. That sounds simple, but that really is one of the biggest changes that you can make. It means fewer tabs open, a shorter to-do list, uh, less decisions, less decision fatigue. You know, use a priority list, not a task dump. Now, you may need to do a brain dump to get it out and get it all organized, and I do recommend that. But I tell my clients in my coaching program, focus on 1 to 3 priorities each day. The big things, big high impact tasks that are going to move the needle in your business or your personal life. And you know, you can do more than that once you get those done. But those are your focus, the 1 to 3. And I don't have this giant to-do list and everything is equally important because that is going to create overwhelm. So reduce the number of things fighting for your attention. Simplify, you know. Um, Again, if you're watching live, say hi. If you're watching the replay, say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from, for one thing. And we're talking about overcoming overwhelm. So first shift, simplify your inputs. Reduce the number of things fighting for your attention. Use a priority list, 1 to 3 priorities each day. Okay. Now, second, create clear start points. Vague tasks create resistance in your brain. If something is vague, you're not really clear on what it is you need to do, your brain is going to resist just naturally. So instead of saying, you know, work on project, write outline the intro section of the proposal. I mean, that's much more specific. It's a small piece of the big project, but it's doable and it's clear, you know. Actionable steps reduce friction and make it easier to begin. This is really important. Don't gloss over this. Okay, so you've got your 1 to 3 priorities written down, and you need to break the big things down into small, actionable steps, clear steps, clear. Okay, clarity reduces friction and reduces that resistance in your brain, and it makes it easier to start because you're very clear on what your next step is. So that's super important. All right. You got anybody? Whoops. I could just hear myself talking. That was weird. All right. So The third shift is time containers. What do I mean by that? Time, you know, things like time blocking. Time blocking doesn't have to be rigid. It really doesn't. Now, there are some people who teach that very strict time blocking. That doesn't necessarily work for people like me who have ADHD. So when you think about time blocking, think of it as assigning time containers for different types of work. It's like you're putting all that into a container, into a box, and categorizing it. Um, for example, you're going to do deep work, deep concentration work from 9 to 11 a.m. Okay. Admin tasks from 1 to 2 p.m. You know, your brain loves structure. Believe it or not, you may resist structure. You may think it's not fun. It is too restrictive, but your brain craves that clarity and that structure. But it loves structure with flexibility. So you can't err too far on either extreme. You can't have too rigid time blocking, so much structure. And you can't have just, I'll do it when I feel like it, you know, total flexibility either. So it has to be structure with flexibility. Um, I hope that makes sense. Um, there's a lot more I could say about that, but we'll leave it at that for now. So a fourth kind of a switch I want you to make in your brain is to minimize switching. Multitasking is a myth. It really is. You're not really multitasking, like you're not really doing a whole bunch of different things at one time. You're really not. You're actually switching tasks, and maybe you're doing it quickly, but each switch costs your brain energy. Now, I know that if you have ADHD like me, you get bored super easily. You get frustrated really easily. And so you want to switch. It's like so tempting, right? But each switch costs your brain energy. So batch similar tasks, answer emails in one block, make all your calls together, and reserve focus time for deep work. Focus time for deep work. So each switch costs your brain energy. So I don't know what else I could say about that. Just minimize switching. Try to figure out a way to not do that as much because it is not productive and it is taking up bandwidth in your brain that you can't afford to lose. Um, all right, so if you're watching the replay, I'd love to circle back around and read your comments. Um, Number 5, set recovery rituals. So overwhelm builds when you just push nonstop. And I do work with a lot of people that have ADHD. And a lot of times they say, well, I don't want to stop because then it's going to be hard for me to start again. But they're not as productive because we're not meant to push it like that, you know? So you've got to integrate mini breaks. Um, you have to. I mean, study after study has shown that that actually is more effective and more productive. Um, so integrate mini breaks and post task resets. Um, so each time you finish a task, you kind of reset and get ready for the next task. And end of day shutdowns. So that's a good recovery ritual that a lot of people don't do. But when I suggest that in my coaching program, it seems like that resonates with people. When at the end of the work day for me, I close up my computer, I clear my desk so that I don't walk into clutter the next morning. Um, and I write down the 3 priorities for the next day. I look at my calendar and I kind of wrap up any loose ends and just kind of have an end of day shutdown ritual where I kind of do it signals my brain, okay, it's okay to step away from this. Even a 3 minute reset helps. 3 minutes, that's it. Recovery isn't a luxury. This is not a, yeah, that'd be kind of nice. It's something that you need to do. It's fuel for the next burst of work. And so, even when you do time blocking, when you do the Pomodoro method, the focus sprint method, any of those type of time management strategies, breaks are an important part. Okay. Now, I don't mean like a big long break, it's something to get you distracted. I just mean um, stand up, stretch, take a deep breath, think about what you got to do next. Just you got to reset your brain. Your brain needs that. All right. So let's practice what you're going to do. So I'm going to give you 2 or 3 minutes, and I want you to just grab a scratch sheet of paper or open up a notes app or something and jot down or type the 3 shifts that you want to try this week. 3 shifts that you're going to try this week. Now, I was going to get some volunteers to share theirs, but there's nobody watching me live. I know this is a different time than I usually go live, but if you are watching the replay, put yours in the comments, your 3 shifts. And just to, if you forgot what they are, the first one is simplify your inputs. That's reducing the number of things fighting for your attention. Create clear start points. Don't be vague. Time blocking. Have assigned time containers for different types of work. Don't multitask. Each switch costs your brain energy. And create recovery rituals, post-task rituals, mini breaks, end of day shutdowns. So, what are the 3 that you're going to practice this week? I'd love to know in the chat if you're watching the replay. But let's get this momentum going. Write those 3 down and try some of these right away before you forget about it. I really do encourage you to do that. Okay, so overcoming overwhelm, it is not about doing more. It's about doing less better. Let me say that again. Overcoming overwhelm is not about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it better. So if you apply even just one of these shifts, you'll reclaim your time, your focus, and your energy. So, listen, I would love to help you with this personally. And you can get personalized support from me in a clarity call, my coaching program, joining a workshop, things like that. So I've got some questions for you. I want to know, how are you doing on your own? Do you need help? Because so many people, they just want to learn things. They're like, oh, this is great tips. But are you doing the tips? Because most people need structure and support to implement the strategies. We really don't need more information. Having more information is not enough for you to really thrive. You need support and accountability with implementation. That's what we call the 3P power: positive, prepared, productive. So I believe it's not your fault if you're struggling, because probably nobody ever explained how your unique brain wiring affects how you spend your time. And maybe you tried things, but you didn't try something that's made for your brain. So if you have ADHD, or you're super creative, or you just have a busy brain, those things aren't going to work for you. And if maybe you learned some strategies that were ADHD friendly, but you didn't have the support and the structure that you needed to implement them. Well, I struggled with undiagnosed ADHD for years. And then I finally discovered as an adult that I had ADHD. And when I looked back through that lens, everything started to make sense. And then I just started to learn everything that I could about adult ADHD. um, because I was working with adolescents, so I knew a lot about that. And I started to try some things, and I had uh, just kind of went on this journey of self-discovery and growth. And I went to workshops and read books and tried different things. Finally put together a really a framework of strategies, routines, habits. It just became super successful. I found out what worked, what didn't. I started helping other people. And before you know it, I had a coaching program. It was a game changer. I completely turned my life around. I went from chaos and overwhelm and just being all over the place in my life with no stability, to earning 2 master's degrees, having a long-term successful career as a counselor and teacher, um, married the love of my life. I'm a stepmom, a grandma, and I started my own business while I was teaching full time. Now I'm doing it, the business full time and not teaching. But I did all that while having ADHD. And I share that not to boast, but just to kind of let you know a little bit about me. I understand your struggles, whether you have ADHD or not. Not everybody who goes through my program has ADHD. So it's really not just for that. But I am an ADHD strategist, a productivity coach, and I really want to help you. You know, I think that you need to get to the success that you deserve. And a lot of you have been following me for a long time. You go to all the free things that I offer, and that's fine. That's why I offer them free so they could be accessible to everybody. But it's not enough. I can tell you right now, you're probably not reaching your potential, because if you've tried to do it on your own, you've probably struggled, you know? And I just want you to know that when I share these strategies, it comes from a place of deep understanding and personal experience. These are not tips that I read in a book somewhere. These are proven strategies that have transformed my life and the lives of my coaching clients. So, um, you know, I guess I just want you to know this is coming from somebody who's walked the path and found a way out. And now I want to um, help you overcome your challenges and unleash your potential. So, I'll introduce you to a couple of people, and there's so many more, but these are just a few. This is Liesel. She is a therapist in my hometown, and she has a busy practice, but she has several school-aged children at home too. So she's super busy. And she wasn't always accomplishing what she wanted to. Through my coaching program, she learned how to effectively prioritize, how to set boundaries, how to say no to things that didn't serve her purposes. And now she has margins in her life and a lot less stress. Um, She says there, I needed guidance, action steps, and accountability without pressure, and the program did that for me. It gave me new ideas to manage my time better and be more organized. And she said that overall, as a result of joining the program, she feels more confident in herself as a person with ADHD. And she was a therapist, she is a therapist, so she already knew a lot. Now, Holly came to me when she was trying to clean out and create a home office. She was going to start working from home and starting her own business, which is a big shift. And so she needed help creating structure at home. And after implementing the strategies from my coaching program, she is now happy and productive working from home in her own business. And listen, you can have this too. She said, this has changed my whole life from managing time to resolving conflict in relationships. Now, Doug is also an entrepreneur. He has his own long arm quilting business, and he was often working frantically up to a deadline at the last minute all the time. And his wife encouraged him to join my coaching program. And after working with me, he learned some tricks of ADHD friendly time management. He was able to get his time back, get things done, and not go crazy at the last minute all the time. Um, and he said, I felt the program would give me the tools and accountability to make the changes I needed. It has helped give me a roadmap to get me on track and more organized to be able to prioritize tasks and help me get them done. It is still a work in progress, but it's helping me stay on track. I'm glad I took a leap of faith and joined the program. And listen, I could just go on and on. These are just a few examples of the incredible transformation that my clients have experienced through my coaching program. They were able to overcome their challenges with time management, organization, procrastination, overwhelm, like we were talking about. They gained the skills and strategies they needed to really thrive in their personal lives and their professional lives. So I just want you to know what's possible because you can achieve this too. Um, there's so much more I could say, but uh, let me just leave you with this. You've really got two choices. I mean, you can take the information that I shared today and other times when I've shared the free information, and you can do the slow way through trial and error, trying to implement things on your own, Googling. Um, you can never get the time and money back. How many courses have you bought or things have you joined that are just sitting in your inbox and you didn't follow through? You know, um, I mean, you're listening to this, so you probably are the kind of person who can get results if you've got the right help. So I'd love to show you how you can get results faster, easier, and that is through my coaching program. It's called Focus to Fortunes. Um, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it, and I'd like to invite you to get on a call with me if you want to know more. Listen, these are not sales calls. What I like to do is just get to know the people who are listening to my trainings. And so it's not a long call. I only ask that if you do book a call that you show up because my time is valuable. And there's no charge for it. I give you some free advice. If we mutually think it makes sense to talk about the coaching program, then I'll give you more information about it. But there's no obligation. So again, 3P power: positive, prepared, productive. This is not like anything else out there. If you do have ADHD like me, I really help you work with it instead of fighting against it. I mean, yes, it's important to manage challenges, but you have so many strengths that come with that as well. If you don't have ADHD, but you really struggle with organization and time management, this is perfect for you. Now, this is not for people who are not willing to be held accountable because we do get on a small group Zoom call and hold each other accountable. It's gentle accountability, but it is accountability. Um, Now, this is not therapy. It's fine to go to therapy too. A lot of people do that, but it's not a replacement for mental health help. And it's not for people who blame, complain, and don't do the work. I mean, after all, the first P stands for positive. So if you join the program and you never, ever, ever, ever show up on a Zoom call, you never, ever, ever watch any of the training videos, you never implement any of the strategies, then you're not going to get results. And so now I encourage you and I follow up with you and try to make sure you're staying on track, but you got to be willing to do something. Um, and it's not for people who are not willing to invest in themselves. Now, I think it's very reasonably priced, but it is not free. It's not, no offense to Walmart, but it's not Walmart quality. Um, and it's not for people who use excuses to keep procrastinating about making a change in their life. And I've talked to so many people like that. Yeah, well, maybe next year, maybe. Listen, there's never going to be a perfect time to take care of yourself. You're never going to have extra money laying around that you can use to invest in yourself. You're always going to think of something else to use it for. So it's not for people not willing to invest, but it is for you if you're a high achiever, you got some ADHD symptoms, you know how to work hard and how to compensate for some of those challenges, but it's costing you. Deep down, you know that. And you're successful, but you can't seem to get it all done without a lot of stress, maybe burnout. You work all the time and you still have way too many tasks on your to-do list. And you secretly worry that people are going to find out that you don't really have it all together as much as you appear. And you sacrifice sleeping, eating, exercising, spending time with your family to try and meet deadlines at work. You have creative professional goals, things you've always wanted to do, but you still haven't done them because you're always behind and you're putting off your dreams. And you already know a lot, probably. You know a lot of information, but you still just haven't seen the changes that you want. And you're tired of feeling like a failure in one or more areas of your life. Tired of constantly feeling rushed, unorganized, overwhelmed, stressed. And you're tired of losing things and all the clutter around you. Tired of feeling like you take care of everybody else but yourself. And you're frustrated because you know that your life could be worth so much more if you could just figure out how to get there. And you feel like you're letting somebody down all the time, including yourself. And you're ready to take action and see change. What if I told you that I could help you work with your ADHD if you have ADHD, or work with your scattered, easily distracted brain to be successful instead of trying to fight against it all the time? What if I told you that you could be focused, organized, prepared, and on time, even with ADHD? I want you to imagine, because this is very, very um, common, this result here. What would it be like to wake up every day feeling calm, in control, prepared, remembering important things, and to go to bed every night with the satisfaction of knowing that you were productive and organized and accomplished everything you meant to? That is a reality for people who go through my coaching program. Now, I know I get to this point, and a lot of people say, "Well, I've already tried." I talked to somebody the other day. Well, I follow all these other ADHD coaches. Well, then why are you still trying to get information, from me? You're not getting the results that you need. Now, I'm sure there's lots of other great people, but if you're not reaching your full potential, then more information is not enough. And I get it. I've been where you are. That's why I'm uniquely qualified to help you, because I can save you all the years of trial and error that I spent trying to do it myself. You know, I've created a proven framework that has worked for me and has worked for many others. It's a high touch VIP mentorship. There's flexibility. You got access to the training uh, with recorded videos. It's created by somebody who has ADHD and has implemented the plan. Um, I've seen success in myself and in others, multiple levels of support, and it focuses on all of the areas of your life. It's not just business coaching or just life coaching or ADHD coaching or productivity. It's everything. And again, not everybody has ADHD that goes through this program, but we do talk about it. So you might resonate with some of the things that you hear, even if you don't have that diagnosis. We talk about the neurological basis of it, how it affects your attention, your focus, your productivity. We talk about how to not just work on your weaknesses, but how to figure out what your strengths are and what are your triggers, and learn to accept yourself, improving the things that need to be improved, but also capitalizing on your strengths. We talk about managing overwhelm and anxiety, um, stress management, focus and attention is huge. Evidence-based strategies to enhance your focus and attention. Now, organization and time management. You know, uh, you're not going to be successful if you can't manage your time. I mean, that's just the way it is. And it is a learned skill. So even if it doesn't come naturally for you, I help you learn how to work with your brain and really learn practical tools and strategies to create systems that support your unique needs. And that is one of the reasons that I keep the group small, so we can personalize things. Now, you get some bonuses. I'm going to kind of go through these quickly. You get the ultimate task manager. You get the tackling time um, free course. You get power over procrastination. You get power sessions, focus groups, VIP Facebook group, guided email assistance, knowledge vault, the ultimate task manager, tackling time, power over procrastination. And I've already explained a little bit about working with me. Um, I do get it. And if you like the way I teach, I mean, I taught middle school for 19 years, so I know how to break things down into bite-sized, easy to digest nuggets. So listen, stop Googling, stop chat GPTing and YouTubing, and join a community where you not only find strategies that actually work for your brain, but also a framework that makes sense and the support that you need to implement it. Stop waiting for a better time. Now is the time. Time is short, you know? We're not getting any younger. And there's never going to be the perfect time. Um, you're never going to feel like your schedule is clear enough. And you're always going to think of some other easy thing to spend money on. Believe me. But you're worth it. You're worth investing in. So I encourage you, again, these are just some before and after statements that people made. But if you don't invest in yourself, you're never going to know what it's like to take control of your life and truly thrive. And that's what's so sad to me, is that so many people don't even know what's out there. So many people said, I wish I'd done this a long time ago. I had no idea that there's another way to live. If you continue to keep doing the same thing, nothing will change. So you give to others probably, but now it's time to invest in you. The best thing that you can give other people is a healthy you. So I encourage you to book a call with me. I'm going to put the link to my calendar in I'm going to stop sharing here. In the notes, in the comments, under this video. And if you don't see a time, just shoot me a message. You can email me at cindy@cindybakercoaching.com. And I we'll mutually look at our calendars and we'll pick a different time. Not all of the times that I have available are open on that calendar. So, and then there's some time zone differences, things like that. So thank you so much for your time. Again, if you're watching a replay, let me know. Let me know which of those 3 shifts you're going to practice this week. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.